Hey, what's going on everybody? Today I'm going to show you how to build my nvim configuration because some of you guys asked for it, and while I am doing how to install all of my nvim configuration, I just want to show you that where does Neovim store plugins and where does Neovim store its configuration files to be able to understand the logic behind Neovim a little bit more. And so if you just encounter some kind of bug when you're doing this, you'll be able to solve it pretty much quickly because you know where all of the files are stored. So by default, nvim has a run directory, which are all of the plugins are loaded, and a configuration directory. So the configuration directory is just simply in .config /nvim. So this is just the default. If you want, you can change this. In this .config /nvim directory, you just put all of your configuration files. So these are my configuration files. However, the installed plugins with your Packer or I don't know, whatever plugin manager you are using, doesn't install the plugins here. So actually I can just show you. So if we just check the size of here, as you can see, it's just 628 kilobytes. So then where are these Neovim plugins stored? So let me show it to you now. All of the Neovim plugins are defaultly stored in .local share and then nvim. Also, you can change this. This is just the default runtime path. And if we just do the same command here to be able to check whatever configuration is here, as you can see, it's just like 500 megabytes. So now we know where Neovim stored the plugins and as well as where Neovim stored the configuration files. So to be able to show you that how to build my Neovim configurations from scratch, I'll just delete this plugins directory, which is the runtime path of Neovim. Actually, I'll just move it. So I'll move my Neovim to neovim.back, and actually I'll just delete all of my configurations directory. So what was that? Nvim. So if I just open my Neovim now, as you can see, this is just the default Neovim and just nothing is installed, nothing is configured, no macros, etc. So this will be the first Neovim window in your distro, and now let's try to build it. So to build it, if you want my dot files for, I don't know, DWM, Rofi, etc., so like this power menu or stuff, you can just copy all of my dot files. However, in this video I'll just show you how to just clone my Neovim, not all of the other dot files. So to be able to do that, just head over to my repo, this file tag r0/dot files, and just copy the link and let's clone it now. So I'll just make a temporary directory here in my home, and after that I'll just git clone, and after that let's see what we can do. So I'll just redirect into dot files now, and as you remember, it's stored in .config directory. As you can see, nvim is here, and I'll just move nvim to my local installation path in my computer. So nvim to .config. So if we check out our .config here, I'm sorry, our nvim here, as you can see, it's just there. And if we redirect to that directory, we've just cloned my configuration files. However, we are definitely not done. If I just hit vim and enter, as you can see, it will show some bugs. So these bugs occur because none of the plugins are installed, therefore they can't be loaded. So to be able to solve this issue, we just need to write a simple command, and actually I didn't even need to write a single command, it automatically installed everything. So as you can see, all of the plugins are now installed. Actually, let's just show. So let me open a simple C file here. As you can see, all of the plugins are loaded, like the toggle turn window, as well as the color scheme, which is default one darker for now, as well as this bottom line. Just all of the plugins are loaded now. However, we are still not done. So if you see here, so it says that it's inactive. So whatever programming language you are writing, you need to install its language server protocols as well as its treesitter parsers. So it's just pretty easy to install. Let me just show it to you now. In the Neovim command line, just write Lsp Install. And if you check out the default ones, you can just choose one of them from here. It will automatically detect your file type, and as you can see here, and it will ask you which Lsp to install. As well as this is not the only path. If you write Lsp Install info here, you can just see all of the available servers. So there are like 115 servers here. Just choose your programming language which you're using and then install the server. So I think, yes, I for installation, but I am not using ccls. Yeah, so that does not matter. I'll change it now. After installation from here, yes, I'm not going to install ccls, so let's just install Klangly here. Let's just wait for some, so to be able to sure that the language server protocol is running. And as you can see, my auto completion is up and running now. Oh, not IO stream, definitely standard IO, etc. However, we are still not done. How are we not done? Of course, we have installed the language server protocol, but if you want more enhanced highlighting in your code, or I don't know, if you want more colors, like, you need to install treesitter. So as you can see, actually treesitter is running now. However, I don't think it installs automatically. So to be able to install the treesitter parser to your Neovim, just write ts install, and after that just write your programming language name. So this is C now. I'll just C. I'm sorry, I already have a C parser. So if you hit yes, it will automatically install that treesitter parser. So let me just open a new file actually. Let me delete that a.c. Let's open a Python file actually. So as you can see in my Python file, by the way, divs will come by default. They are my make file. I'm sorry, not make file. My auto command macros. As you can see, Python is inactive now. To be able to install Python Lsp server, just hit Lsp install and choose whatever server you want to install. So I like Python actually, so I'll just install it. It will automatically install, and after the installation, it will be available to auto completion. So if I just hit main, it will automatically run my snippets. However, I don't think yes. So as you can see, there is no treesitter argument here. So if you see something like this, no treesitter popping up, this means that no treesitter parser is installed for your programming language. So to be able to install it, let's just write some variables. So actually, let's write a class, simple class simple. So let me just write a simple init. So self hello, I don't know. So self.hello equals hello. And let's see that if there will be any color change if I install the treesitter. So as you remember, ts install, after that the programming language name. So I think it's Python. As you can see, colors changed, and I think this is pretty much better. So if you want enhanced color linting and to be your code to look good, just install whichever programming language with language server protocol, and as well as your type treesitter parser. So actually this is just it. You can simply install my Neovim configurations with just like in 2 or 3 clicks. However, if you want to know that how do my configuration files work, how is my Neovim configurations are ordered, what are the files, there are like 6 or 7 files, I'll just show them to you now in like 2 minutes or something. So if you just want to install Neovim and you don't care about the configuration directory, you can just close this video now. So let me just show it to you how I organized my Neovim files so that you can use your own. However, I don't think this is the perfect way to organize Lua files, because I'm obviously using init.vim here. If you just check, I don't know, LunarVim, or yes, I think LunarVim. LunarVim is much more enhanced than my dot files for my Neovim configurations, and they are pretty bit hard to understand. So let me just show it to you now. So in my init.vim, as you can see, this Lua require init calls init.lua in Lua folder, And after that, I just have some functions. I'm just too lazy to convert all of these to Lua configurations. Therefore, in my Vim directory, I just have some functions. So for example, as you can see here, it just calls the author and writes the name, blah blah stuff. So Java project maker, etc. So if you are not using these functions, you can just convert all of them to your init.lua. Okay. So in templates, here are my competitive programming macros and as well as Java programming macros. So I've just put in all of these in here. So how do these work? So if I open a C++ file and hit Shift and 1, it will automatically clone whatever is written there in my templates. In snippets, actually, most of the time you won't need this because plugins are handling them for you. However, I configured them to be able to fit myself because everyone uses different snippets. And I don't know, in C there was like 200 and 300 snippets, and I just don't want to use them. Therefore, I've just cloned the friendly snippets to my Neovim directory, and I just changed them a bit. So actually, I can just show you if you want. So for example, now I am messing around with X11, and I just hate to remember all of the includes. So I just write a simple script like this, actually simple JSON file like this. So prefix is xdev. And as you can see, body has some arguments. These are the default headers for x11 Windows system. If I open a C file and just hit xdev, it will automatically include all of my headers. If you want, you can do something like this. And this JSON file is actually pretty easy to understand and write your own snippets. So let's continue. Don't ever touch plugin directory because it's an auto-generated file by your Packer plugin. So no code or no extra goes here. So the place the show starts is in my Lua directory. So as you remember, in the init.vim, in the line 3, this Lua require init actually calls the Lua directory and init.lua. And in init.lua, as you can see, it requires my plugins first. It loads all of my plugins. After that, I just load my configuration files. So in vim, there are 4 different directories. In plugins.lua file, I just hold all of my plugins to be installed. As you can see, there are lots of users here. And in Lsp, I just handle my Lsp server connection protocols. I won't get into them because the video will like 2 hours if I get into that. In interface, actually, probably you won't need this. Just use the defaults. I just copied this from LunarVim. So this just handles the shape of your pop-up files as well as your text. If you want, you can mess around with these. In core, this is where I hold my configuration plugins. So as you can see, there are like 10 or 15 plugins here, and all of these are my plugin configuration files. And in config, I hold my auto commands to be able to, like, as you remember, so a.py automatically inserts this usebin and Python to that file. So it's an auto command. In init.lua, I just load all of these files from init.lua. In Keymaps, I've just written my Keymaps. You can change this if you want. So in macros, it's obviously for macros. And in options, so encoding, mouse, fold expression, you can just check this if you want. And since I am using simple terminal, I need to include the escape sequence here. However, I'm not sure. I think maybe it will work without these two. And yeah, actually that's it. So you can just hold the directory structure like this. It's pretty simple than LunarVim. It's much more complex. So this will be all the video, guys. So if you are wondering how my other dot files work, so for example, like this power menu, or I don't know, like my speaker icon notification, I can just show you. Just write it in the comments and I will make a video about that. So see you guys in the next tutorial. Take care.